Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. I'm so excited today because I have a wonderful guest with me, and some of you may recognize her. This is my friend Bridget. Bridget has a fantastic YouTube channel called Ebony Ladies, the DR. Is it Ebony Lady now? Is it singular?
E- No, still Ebony Ladies in the DR, because when you're still there in the DR and there all the other Ebony Ladies that are living here, so it's still the same. I have guests on there all the time.
Yes, you definitely do. And so, for those of you who are considering relocating, you want to know some information, this is going to be a great video for you to watch. You can also check out Bridget's channel because she shares lots and lots of information with people who are also living in the DR, and you can get different perspectives. So,
Right.
I'm going to jump right in and welcome you. Thank you so much, Bridget, for appearing with me today and sharing some of your insight and your experience.
No, thank you for having me anytime.
Wonderful. So tell us, first of all, where are you from and how long have you been in the DR?
My husband and I originally moved from United States, Houston, Texas, and it is a year and a half. We moved here January 13th of 2019.
Wow, that was fast.
It was fast. It was fast.
And so, what made you decide to come to the Dominican Republic?
So our goal was always to retire early, and Dominican Republic is a place that was going to be affordable. The cost of living here is amazing, and is tropical, and it's mostly a home people of color. And so that's kind of how we narrowed down our list. St. Thomas, St. Croix, those places that number one, but the cost of living, we would have had to continue to have some real income.
Yeah,
And here we were able to go ahead and retire and just start living and enjoying life.
good. That's good. Has the transition been easy? Is there anything that was a little bit bumpy for you getting started, or how was it making that move?
You know what? I tell everybody that this was like supposed to happen for us, because there's not one major thing that happened that made me say, I think we may have made a mistake. It was because it was all about the planning, and it was all about you really, really, truly have to be in the mindset that you're ready to leave all of the rat race of what's going on in the US behind you. So the transition wasn't hard for us.
Had you guys been to the DR before you could check it out? And if so, how many times did you come before you made the move?
We'd only been here two times, actually, twice before on extended vacations. And then the third time we came, we actually bought our property, then went back to the US. But each time we came, I never felt like I was on vacation as far as being a feeling of being away from home. It always felt comfortable and like home, even though we were in the resorts or Airbnb on just like, but it still felt like this is so comfortable, I could live here. And I'm a friendly person, so it's easy for me to get adjusted anywhere, but this was like, this is it.
And so when you came those two times before, were you in, because Bridget lives in Punta Cana, in the Punta Cana area, and would you
Right.
always visit that area, or did you go other places too?
Nope, this is the only place we ever came to actually stay and visit. While we were here on vacation, we took a trip up north, but it wasn't for us. But this was always our base, Punta Cana.
Okay, so tell people, because a lot of, especially Americans, know about Punta Cana. It's a great place to come, like you said, for a resort. The beaches are next level, white sand. There's even one, Playa Blanca, that I went to a long time ago. And it's like they had pink crystals in the sand. It was beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful. So,
Uh-huh.
what is it that attracted you to Punta Cana? Why did you guys decide to stay there? What do you love about it? Just give us some insight on Punta Cana.
Okay, if you're planning to, people kind of rule out Punta Cana because they say, oh, it's a touristy area. We don't want to be around spring breakers. We don't want to always be around vacationers. Not the case. We chose Punta Cana because we're still pretty young. We retired at 50, and we still wanted to be able to have a good social life. And if we not work, but if we wanted to volunteer, if we wanted to have a good social life, we wanted to have things things to do, and then more upgraded amenities. You know, we didn't necessarily want to go to a city that was, you know, the Dominican Republic is a developing country. So some places internet is not as strong, or electricity is not as prevalent, you know. And so we chose, okay, if we go to Punta Cana, you know, it's a tourist city, they're going to make sure the lights stay on. They're going to make sure the Wi-Fi is working. So those are some of the things that were a big priority for us, you know. So that's why I chose. But I would tell anybody, even if you think you don't want to live in a touristy city, we're in a gated community. You can't tell it's a touristy city inside of the walls. When you go outside of the walls,
It's beautiful.
yeah,
And gorgeous. You live like right by a golf course. I mean, it's
right, we're on the course.
on the course. So, but I didn't know that you guys didn't have issues with like rolling blackouts sometimes or internet, because you know my life is crazy with that.
just when the just really when it's the storms.
Right.
So just like this past tropical storm, where our power was out for maybe 4 or 5 hours during the day. The last time it was out for that length of time was the last tropical storm last year. But no, we don't have a lot of outages, electricity issues, Wi-Fi issues, none of that.
I don't have too much with the electricity. Every now
Mhm.
and then they'll like shut it down because they're trimming trees and the wires get in the way, that kind of thing. But
Oh, okay.
the tropical storm wasn't that bad for us either. But I'm really glad you're sharing this because, of course, I give mainly the Las Terrenas perspective, but it's so nice
Right.
to have you here to share what it's like, because I think most people do think of Punta Cana as just resorts and partying and all that, but it's good to know from a resident
Yeah.
that another way of living there. So
Yeah.
is there anything, tell us about like coming from Houston, do you miss anything about being in the US, or you know, creature comforts from home? How's that?
You know what? In the beginning, I really missed having a dryer, because I'm a person who likes to wash clothes at night. You know, while I'm watching TV, I like to wash clothes at night. So here we only have a washing machine. A lot of people have dryers, but it's like a luxury, you know, and so we don't have a dryer. So I have to literally plan when I'm going to do laundry to make sure it's a bright sunny day like today. So when I put the clothes out on my clothes rack, they'll be dry and I can get them right back in, you know. So that was like, in the beginning, it was one of the things I really missed. So after just coming back from the States for 4 months, and you know, at my family's house, everybody's got a washer and dryer. It was convenient, you wash. And then I was like, oh, I miss the way the clothes smell from the sun. Oh, this was so quick. You know, I'm used to planning my day because I'm retired around doing laundry and folding clothes and putting them outside. So that was like something that I really missed in reverse. So after the 4 months, I miss being here and not having a dryer.
Interesting.
So it was like
I think
perfect.
people would expect you to miss the dryer, right? But you get
Right.
living, and like you said, the natural way that things dry quickly in the DR because it is hot, and
It is.
save electricity, right?
Definitely.
How's your electricity over there in your home? You guys have, how many bedrooms do you have in your home? I'm just trying to give
So,
people like there's two of you.
yeah, so we have 2 bedrooms and we have like a pretty spacious living room. So ours is kind of considered a townhouse villa because it's 2 levels. Electricity is never an issue, but let me tell you, in certain areas of Punta Cana, you pay more. So because we're in a gated, more considered an upscale community where the golf course is, we pay 14 kilowatts. 14 cents per kilowatt, pardon me, 14 cents per kilowatt for electricity. And people outside of Punta Cana, or I mean outside of Cocotal, they pay, some people pay 10, depending on the area, some people pay 12. So we pay 14. And then if you go further out, in Punta Cana, sorry you guys, my dog. If you go to Cape Cana, they pay anywhere from 16 cent to 18 cent. So I didn't know. So that's one of the things that you definitely want to check on. It's extra.
This is the 14 range, but I believe because the electricity is privatized in the DR, so depending upon where you are, they raise the prices a little bit. And of course, Cap Cana, a lot of wealthy people there, so they figure
Right.
they can afford it. The houses
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So like an average bill for the size house you mentioned monthly would be how much? What would you say?
So we use, my dog is going crazy today. We use our AC just like a couple of hours in the hottest part of the summer. We'll use AC during the day for maximum 2, 3 hours. And then at night, maybe 2 hours to cool the room and go to sleep. We have central air on the bottom, and then we have individual units upstairs. Our utility bill runs about, on the high end, $73 a month. That's on the high end. The low end is about 58. Uh-oh, I couldn't hear you.
I said it's worth it to stay cool, right?
Right. And it's still, that's not expensive because literally before we moved here, I budgeted 150 a month for utilities. We haven't had $150 utility bill yet.
You're not going to unless you just have your doors open all day and it's just running.
And run the AC. Crazy. Right. So it's really affordable.
Okay. And so have you found, you mentioned being affordable in terms of coming from the US, do you find that, and you mentioned, for example, also like between St. Thomas and St. John, those other islands, that it's much more affordable to live in the DR. Can you get
Right.
a sense of like what you notice or where your savings are coming from, like your cost of housing or I don't know, food, just whatever you guys do maybe?
Okay, so we purchased our home, so we bought it. So we don't have a rent, mortgage, or anything like that. We pay cash for it. The HOA fees are really low compared to the U.S. Our HOA at home, though, it was really cheap. It was only like $500 for the year. Our HOA here is higher, but we don't have a pool to maintain like we had at home. Our pool is our community pool, so there are 9 units here that share a really nice pool. And then we have the huge pool at the clubhouse. So we have just your HOA and maintenance. You're looking at average $200. Okay. So at home, we would spend $160 a month just for our pool man to come clean the house. So then we pay for trash and you pay for water. So you have all of those extra things in the US that we don't have here. So literally our only bills are our maintenance and HOA, which is $200 per month. Then our utility bill, never more than $100 per month. Internet and our cell phone is like $70 per month. Versus in the US, we had 2 cell phones, AT&T, 250 something dollars a month every month, right? And that was just the cell phones. The internet was another, what, $80, $90 for Wi-Fi in the US. And then what other bill we have here? I say water. Water is a bill because you can't drink the water. So we usually get like 3 gallons. We go through about 3 of the 5 gallon
Big jump.
jugs. Yeah. So we go through about 3 of those in a week and a half. We drink a lot of water. So about a week and a half. And that is what, Kelly? $4, I think.
Right. Yeah. It's
Yeah, it's like $4. So you literally, my husband and I, and we eat out maybe once a week, but not real fancy. We'll do something maybe once a month, pretty fancy on the beach. But the two of us we're literally living on about $1,100 per month.
that's
That's it
for both of you.
for both of us and a dog. Her medical bills have been higher than mine. I had bronchitis here, and we have medical insurance, which is really cheap. And my bronchitis medicine, it was more expensive than her. No, her medicine is more expensive than my medicine for when I had bronchitis. So, but it's even affordable for her.
So two questions. One, in terms of bringing your dog over, was that difficult? Was it a big process?
Okay, if you follow the instructions online, you would think it's going to be very difficult. You would think it's going to be a hassle. The only thing you need, the biggest difference is with coming here, they don't accept the 3-year rabies shot. So she did have to get a new one because it has to be within 1 year. And then it says you have to have the USDA certificate. It doesn't have to have the USDA stamp on it. It needs to have your veterinarian information in the US, all of her shot records, and then it has to be notarized from the state that you're flying from.
Yeah,
And That's it.
Yeah.
And then once we arrived into the Dominican Republic, we go through a little station. It's supposed to be the agricultural checkpoint, and get her in. They take a look at her, they take all of her paperwork, and they charge you 10 US dollars. She's done. She's flown back and forth 3 times already. Never a problem. Never an issue at all.
Yeah, that's important because a lot of people have pets that they feel very, very connected to. They don't want to just leave their pet behind. So
Absolutely.
it's not a hassle, not a hard process to get pets over here.
Not at all. Easy, easy.
So you mentioned also your insurance. Do you mind sharing which insurance company you guys use for your health insurance?
Okay, so y'all have to go on Ebony Ladies in the DR, because I did a whole episode, because we originally had Humana. And Humana, and and we picked Humana basically because it was a name that we knew, because we had Humana in the States, so we were like, oh yeah, Humana. But once we got here and did our homework, really did the research, we switched to Universal. So now we have Universal. Yeah, Universal's good. They're really good. And so I think the two of us, we did a prepay because we didn't want them billing our debit card, because we actually no longer have a debit card, because with our bank account here in the Dominican, if you have a US dollar account, you can't get a debit card. So we have a US dollar account. So we had to prepay ours. So with us prepaying the 3 months, I think it's like 40. No, it's not even that much. It's like $27 a person, and you prepay it 3 months. If you don't prepay it, you're paying like $40 a month. So it's so cheap.
It is. It is. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful.
It is. And I have to tell you, with the Universal, I paid $2.87 for my mammogram.
It just goes to show you that medical care does not have to be as expensive as it really is. As much what they're charging us here in the U.S. And by the way, for those who don't know, I'm in California. I'm on a little vacation, so that's what you see in the background.
Yay.
Not in the DR.
It looks like the DR, palm trees.
California has some of that stuff too.
Right.
But the medicine doesn't have to be as expensive. The treatment, when you go, if you need to go into the hospital, it should not cost you thousands of dollars a day. So
right.
There's no reason that your cell phone bill needs to be in the hundreds of dollars. Like, what are they actually doing?
Right.
Transmission of a signal. There's nothing really that has to happen. So it's good that you're sharing this information. Yeah. Tell us, is there anything that you or your husband miss much from home, even if it's like friends or family or?
I think that's it. I think that's really the only thing I miss as my friends and my family. And I miss my church, because I haven't really found a church home here yet. But as far as, going different places, I don't even miss having a car. And, because we haven't bought a car yet. Go ahead.
How do you get around if you don't have a car?
No, we have bikes. We have 3 bikes and a golf cart.
Yes, the golf.
And then I ride the guagua. I take the guagua, which is the public bus. I do it all the time. I don't mind at all. So yeah, I get around with no problem.
So, okay, so 2 things. Do you mentioned the guagua, do you feel safe? How's the safety for you guys? If you're out by yourself without your husband, are you comfortable, or how are you treated when you're out as a single woman?
Oh my God, I love it. I mean, I have no issues at all because, I kind of stand out being a girl with no hair, and I ride a pink bicycle around town. So everybody kind of knows me. So the first thing they say when I'm on the bike is, where's my dog? Where's your bike? Because they're so used to seeing me. So I definitely feel safe. I'm not, naive that there's like crime or, things going on in the world, period. But I haven't experienced any of that being in the Dominican. Here in Dominican Republic, people see you, they wave, they speak. I'm trying my best, to learn Spanish, and I try to practice my Spanish. They all want to practice their English. So I'm not ever going to be fluent.
They want to get the English in when they can.
Every chance they get.
Did people mistake you for being Dominican though?
I think they are now, because they see me so much. I think people are starting to think that I was a Dominican and I moved, just came back home. So I just kind of rock with it. Yep, Dominican.
Why not?
And I'm getting the Dominican prices. That's another thing.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting Dominican prices because they do have two prices. That is the truth. If you are out at the restaurant, if you're out shopping, if you say Dominicana prices, oh, you're getting a different price.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm at home.
that's good. And I think it's important.
Oh, sorry.
So that
Uh,
when they get
Say
to,
it again. Repeat your question, Kelly.
yeah, I'm saying I'm piggybacking on what you said about, they get to know you and then you say, hey, I want the Dominican price. And when people get comfortable with you, there is a different little sliding scale, shall we say.
Right,
And I think especially a lot of Dominicans will recognize us, Black people, as just kind of an extension of themselves. And
right.
that's why they think you're Dominican, I'm Dominican, and like practically we're cousins, all of us.
I agree.
Yeah. So, all right, well, tell us like what's been like a highlight for you and what's been a challenge if you're living there in the DR.
Let's see. The highlight has been just no confrontation whatsoever. I haven't experienced any confrontation. Everybody was like, before we got here, it was like so much negative. Oh, they Dominicans don't like Black people, they don't want you there, or it was just like a lot of negativity. And I always try to bring a positive attitude to everything. So I didn't get any of that. And I tell people is what you put out. So my highlight has just been the people embracing me and me embracing the culture. That, because I can eat beans and rice all day long with Dominicans. Girl, and chicken, I'm good. I'm happy. So I think that has been my highlight. But let me tell you what my challenge has been. Well, I automatically thought, oh, I'm going to be an island girl now. I'm going to be all thin. Always have this beautiful tan. Oh my God, they have the best lasagna and the best cake.
Oh,
So the challenge has been staying in shape.
yeah.
It's been staying. I don't know why I thought that, all the island girls were going to be skinny and I got to get my butt in shape. Oh my God. They are just as thick as I am and eat cake and lasagna all day.
Island girls have hips, they got
Uh,
curves and stuff, but it's
they
celebrated.
do.
Thing.
That's right. I love it. I fit in.
I was like, finally, my people.
Definitely.
That's nice. So let's see. Do you think you guys are you home? This is it for you, or what do you think?
You know what, Kelly, I feel like it is, because when we were at home for 4 months in the US, because we weren't able to get here, my thought was, I have got to get there and finish my citizenship.
Oh, that,
Residency is not enough. I have got to get a Dominican passport. I don't ever want to have that feeling where I could be locked out of the country again, ever.
especially right with what's going on now.
Right. So that was my thought. So then with that going through my mind and it like really worrying me and bothering me, then I knew this was home, because otherwise I wouldn't have been like so worried or and thinking about it and making sure, like, we've gotten residency, but now my focus is my Dominican passport. That's what's on my mind. I don't ever want to not be able to get back to my home.
Yeah, that well, and with what's happening with American passports now around the world, it's a little scary. Like we've always taken for granted, we can
Right,
have the
we can go anywhere.
exactly, and now like not so much. We're lucky because we still can get in the DR, but who knows what's going to happen in this political climate and
Right.
all the crazy things that are happening in the world. So walk us through a little bit. Now, I will say to my viewers, you guys know I have the DR Go resource guide, which talks a lot about residency and real estate,
Right.
healthcare, and all kinds of things. If you have pets, everything is included in there, banking, all of that. But how was it for you, your experience of getting your residency?
Okay, so residency was a bit of a, I'm not, I think it was more of a headache on the US end, because you have to start the process in the United States. You can't start the process in the Dominican Republic. And a lot of people that work for government offices in the US, they don't know what an apostle, to have something apostolized is. They just think it's just a regular notary stamp. It's something totally different. You have to pay for it. You've got to send originals. So that was the biggest part of it. Once we got here, it was a little bit of running around because everybody told us we had to go to Santo Domingo. So we made 2 trips to Santo Domingo to the head immigration office there, not knowing you could turn in all of your documentation, everything in Punta Cana village, 10 minutes away versus a 2-hour drive and renting a car.
Oh.
And no one knew. It was one person. We found out, one of my friends who's Haitian, and he is doing his process of getting his Dominican passport, and he's a Haitian guy. So he knew where the office was. That was the only way I would have ever found out. It's not on the website, is no one knew. Nope. And the people in Santo Domingo never told me.
Yeah, well, you know, bureaucracy, like a lot of places, is not the smoothest in the Dominican Republic.
Right.
You know, I hate to like knock the government workers, but they do not have a reputation of being efficient or
anywhere. No,
yeah,
anywhere.
Just like, I don't know why it's so difficult. You guys got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now there's a waiting period, and then you can apply for citizenship.
Right. And they tell you they did change the rules. It used to be 5 years. They said it was 5 years once you get residency, and got to do your interview all in Spanish. So we've got to be fluent. But they've changed it because we are property owners here in the Dominican Republic. They feel like we now have ties to the community because we bought property here. So we can fast track and apply for it in 2 years. So, and it's 2 years from the date of your residency approval. So I think we're going to be okay, that because we kind of got they give you like the sample interview in Spanish. So we got that, and I was able to understand everything they were asking, and I was able to respond in Spanish. So I think when the 2-year day comes, I'm going to go and put in a application to get the citizenship.
Okay, we have to have a
so it could be 2 years.
A party for you guys when you become
Definitely. I am definitely gonna have a party.
Wow. Okay, well, wonderful. So let me see, is there anything you want to share with people about what you think maybe people should know? Because I'm sure people write to you, having a YouTube channel also.
All the time.
Yeah, so what is it that you feel like is a common question that comes up, or something you feel maybe people aren't asking, they need to know? Be aware of this when you come.
I think I think everybody should do their own research. Don't rely on even my channel, your channel, the Expat post on Facebook. Still do your own research. Go to the place, stay there, at least 2 weeks outside of a resort, and really get a feel for everyday life, to make sure that this is something you're ready for, because it's hot. We don't run AC year round, and you're not going to find Taco Bell or your Outback Steakhouse. A lot of your favorite places aren't going to be here. So when you're really ready, you got to make sure your mind and everybody that's moving with you is on board, because it's a huge deal. It's a huge transition. So I just tell people to really do your research and know that you're ready. Know that you're ready to do this.
It is a big transition. And I tell people, very much like what you said, number one, do your research. Think about where you might want to go, what your needs are. If you're coming with a family, if you're a single person, if you're a retiree, all those kinds of things. What are your needs? Do you need to be right close to like a major healthcare center if you've got some challenges?
Right. Definitely.
Talk to people who've made the transition, if you can, right? And then see, what they say. That's why I'm asking, like, what are challenges? And then you mentioned something which is really important, I think, because people say, oh, I visited there, but they'll stay on the resort and they don't ever leave. I'm like, that's not real life, no matter where you go. You have to talk to people. You've got to go eat where the people eat. You need to find out, like, what's happening. travel around, get in a car, maybe have a taxi driver drive you around at night. So at least you can see, you don't have to be in the mix if that's like,
right, exactly.
kind of see what it's like, find out like which neighborhoods are noisy, whatever it is.
Because Dominicans party all night.
Oh my gosh.
All night.
100, the music is so loud, right? I agree that it's a good idea to rent first before you buy, because you never know. It's like, living with somebody, you don't know till you're in there what it's really like, right?
That's true. Well, see, that was the difference with me. I am a person, I bought. We didn't rent first. We stayed in the Airbnb while we were here just to come and buy our property, but we weren't renting. We were just, we stayed a couple of weeks to come look for the house, because I told my sister, I didn't try out my house in Houston. I didn't, I bought it. So for me, the whole process was me making a commitment. Because I felt like if I rented, the first time something didn't go the way that I want, I would pick up and leave. But if I own a property here and this is gonna work, then I feel like that I would be more grounded versus renting. So for some people it is better to rent so they can get a feel for it. But I made sure, and did my research, did my homework before we bought, to know that this was the perfect place for us. No regrets since we bought it.
I actually appreciate that perspective a lot, because I do think it's like in getting married, right?
Right.
We're just going to live together and test it out. It's like, well, you're guaranteed you're going to have a bump in the road, because that's just life.
Right. And so you're going to bill.
Right, exactly. But if you make a commitment, of course, you check the person out and you get some little background and do your research.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, the idea of an Airbnb for an extended period of time is a great idea, because then you get a chance to see different neighborhoods and,
right.
and like, where's the closest grocery store, that type stuff. That's actually not a bad idea. It's actually not a bad idea. I think I'm going to share that one. And
definitely.
So, but Bridget, you've been in the travel agent industry for a long time, or you were in the travel industry.
Yeah.
This is a good, you're a good contact for these kinds of things, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, how's my connection? Am I getting?
It froze a minute, but you're okay.
Okay, good. Well, I think this is wonderful, wonderful information. And I want to ask one more question now. You're going to give like a third party perspective, but from the perspective of your husband, and maybe you too, but I think we tend to hear about it more from Black men leaving the U.S. because of all the things we know that Black men are subject to here, and just a lot of the profiling, things like that happen. Has he mentioned to you at all, like that he feels that he's treated differently in the DR, or that he doesn't feel a certain way that he used to feel in the U.S.? Any of that ever come up?
Oh yeah, so we talked about that on one of my shows, because my husband, he came here with the chip on his shoulder. He was, he was very defensive, because people had said, oh, Dominicans don't like Black people, especially not Black men, that type of thing. And so we got here, when people would like immediately start to talk to him, he would be like real defensive, like, to a point of like, to me, was rude. I was like, wait, why do you have this attitude? Change your attitude. And once he changed his attitude, he realized, that no one was like trying to stereotype him or, be rude to him or do anything against him. So he has fit in perfectly. And then he said that, people are like, God, did you all know what was going to happen in the US, with everything that's going on? Because y'all moved, did y'all see this coming? Well, like, absolutely not. But I'm so happy we did, because now I never worry when my husband leaves. I never worry about him. In the US, in Houston, it had gotten to the point where, if he told me he got stopped by a police, my heart is pounding. Or if there was, just anything going on in the area that he was in, I'm like, leave. If he's at a bar, the cigar bar with his friends, and an argument or a fight breaks out, you are out of there. And here, none of that ever happens. Everything's so peaceful. They're laid back. It's what we needed. You know, at this time in our life, I don't want to have to ever go to bed worrying that, you know, he's a victim of police brutality. You
Right.
know?
I do. And I have my motivation in a lot of ways was my son, because even
Absolutely.
kids, they're not exempt from that either necessarily. And I
Yeah.
just want him growing up with that in like the back of his mind. He was afraid all the time. I want him to just be able to be free and play. So it's the same kind of thing.
Right.
And there is that sense. I mean, his sense of relief is much different than a grown man's who's lived with it
Yeah.
for years and had his experiences and friends' experiences with this, what you're talking about. But I always like to ask when especially Black American men come, it's like, what do you notice? And they all say the same thing, like, oh, it's just a relief. I can just be,
Relief. Right.
just live and breathe and not have to worry about anybody bothering me because
Oh.
an identifying factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and people are like, you know, they're going to jump on our case and say, oh, you know, there's racism everywhere. There's, you know, this everywhere. Sure, it is. Definitely. But it's not blatant like in the United States. It's not. You know, I don't care what no one says. You
Yeah.
know, we don't experience, I haven't experienced it firsthand. Nothing like that has happened since we've been here. So you know, I can't feed into that. Is racism everywhere? I'm sure it is. I haven't experienced it here firsthand. I've experienced it in the U.S. So, you know, it's more of a peaceful life here.
Peaceful, and I think it's what you and I have something in common when you talk about it's like what you put out, the energy you put out, and sort of what you're looking for. If you're
Absolutely.
afraid of someone always coming after you, and I'm not saying things don't actually exist,
Right.
it does have to do with what we emit, what we're putting out into the world, because we get a lot of that back. And you're a happy person, you got a happy life in your space, you and your and so when you just are kind of flowing in life, things tend to flow pretty well.
Yes, sir. I agree. So people have to find their happy space. They got to figure out what makes them happy. And if staying in the United States with everything that's going on is giving you stress, then you need to reevaluate. You need to think about it. No one says because you're a Black American, you have to live in the US till you die. It's not the case.
How do you feel about living in a developing country? Without all, the US can be nice because we have all these fancy things and conveniences, and the DR does not have all of those sometimes. What's that like?
Yeah, but you know, when I think about it, the only thing that I don't have here, oh, I don't have a stove, but I use an air fryer. And when we bought this house, we didn't even realize it didn't have a stove. We were like, we love this house so much, we didn't even realize it. But it's no big deal. We have an air fryer, but the car, because I didn't really use public transportation in Houston because it's such a huge city. We always had cars. But by it being a developing country, the only thing I think my husband would complain about is he can't find his fancy coffee creamers, International Delight. Every time we go to the grocery store, it's like once every other month they may have it. Me, I'm good. Like, to me, I can't tell that it's a developing country. Just when you're out, you know, in the neighborhoods and you see people living in poverty, I see that in Houston. It's no different.
Yes, that's
You
like,
know, and the homeless population. Here, I don't know that people are homeless. I don't see people sleeping on the streets like I do in Houston.
I say the same thing, especially being back in California this time. Whenever I come home, I'm like, look at this. There's camps, homeless encampments everywhere.
Everywhere.
You do not see that in the Dominican Republic. Now, there are poor people,
Oh,
and the campesinos who are out in the countryside, but they're living and they're like cultivating the land. It's a different story. You know what I mean?
that's right.
Who are cast offs that no one cares about. Not, I'm not saying the Dominican government has it all right, because they definitely
Right.
have things to work on. But I mean, there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's funny what you say, for example, about going to the grocery store, and like you might sometimes you might get that International Delight, maybe get 2 or 3 of them while they're there,
Back up.
or you learn to do it like Dominican style, cafe con leche, or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm not a coffee drinker, but he loves his Dominican coffee, and but it's even better with his fancy creamer. But if it's not, then he use carnation like the locals do, and it's just as good. He's fine.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful, wonderful. Well, Bridget, thank you so much. I appreciate
You're welcome.
sharing your perspective and your experience with viewers. There are a lot of people, especially now with everything we're going through, who are very interested in
Absolutely.
outside of the U.S., whether it's part time or full time, like you guys are doing now.
Mhm.
And so I think the more information they can get from people like you is really helpful. So I'll remind you guys, and I'll put this in the description box. Do check out Bridget's channel. It's called
Thank you.
Ebony in the DR, and she has a lot of great information there. Talks to other people who are making the transition or have made it, and
Yeah.
got a lot of interesting information. So
Different points of view. That's what I love. Whatever brought people here, we share that in common, that we were just ready for a different life.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it ends up extending your life because a lot of the stress just falls away.
Oh my God, definitely.
You've probably heard the same thing I have. Like people will say, "Oh my gosh, I had high blood pressure. Now I don't have to take my blood pressure medication
Nothing.
anymore," or "I've lost weight," or "I sleep better." Things like that happens. It happens
Yep.
all the time. And
Yep.
it's I think people are carrying a lot of that burden from the U.S., the rat race, and having to worry
Mhm.
about bills and just all those things, police brutality, whatever. And
Yeah,
then you just worry.
that's true. Yeah, it is. You'll change your life. You'll get healthier and not even realize that it's happening to you. You're just gonna just know not all the processed food, not all your fast food restaurants. You're forced to walk more. You're forced to get out and enjoy the fresh air. So it's a good thing.
That is, it is. Well, you make me want to come back. I got to get back.
Hurry up. Get on that.
I will. How's the heat? Is it still sweltering down there?
It's never scorching for me because I'm from Houston. This is like nothing.
Okay.
So I love it.
No, well, no wonder. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's hot right now, but it's not DR hot. That's a different level.
Right.
Humidity-
See, Houston is hotter than the DR.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, so you're on vacation now.
I'm on vacation. I live on vacation now.
Yes, you do. Vacation. That's a beautiful thing.
I'm on vacation.
Okay, well, thank you so much. It's
You're
been
welcome.
a pleasure, and we'll be
Okay.
back with you.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.